not clickbait.
Well, hello again. This time to my fourth YouTube video and my third part of my eBay Reseller Shipping Series, which is comprised of parts 1, 2, and 3. This is a complete redo of the original part 3 because, for one, it was not intended to be a separate part. It was all filmed as one video that turned out to be way too long. And secondly, I decided to refilm it after watching it and not being very happy with how that turned out. I have to say, guys, it's been a challenge putting myself in front of the camera. There has been so much second guessing and so much self-criticism and also staring into a camera is just something that is not making me extremely comfortable, and because of that it messes up my train of thought. So needless to say, it's been a challenge, but I am forging ahead and I'm still trying, and I know that I will get better with time. So thank you for putting up with this, and I sure hope that you are able to overlook some of the imperfections in the presentation and focus on the actual content, which I really did try my best to make as meaningful as possible. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Part 1 of this series focused mostly on what I called the 4 real shipping quirks and how to deal with them. And I provided a lot of information on how to accomplish that, while also uncovering some of the challenges that resellers have been facing more and more as of late. Part 2 is actually an exemplification of one of those 4 quirks, which is actually the creative use of shipping materials. So that turned out pretty nice, and I urge you all to watch these 2 videos because they will add up in the end, and they will provide even more context for this particular one. So I will include links to these videos in the video description below. I'd appreciate you watching those, liking those, commenting, and letting me know how your experience has differed or has been similar to what I have been describing. So as far as part 3 is concerned, this is focused on what I call some concerning trends as of late. And these are all in addition to what I had already discussed in the other videos. And long story short, this is what happened. So it's been about 3 months since the first incident, and that was with FedEx. But I received eBay notifications that FedEx and then later on UPS twice communicated that these three of my total shipping labels allegedly have been not accurately described in measurements. So what they did was they automatically charged me over the amount that I had already paid for those labels. And in some cases, that overcharge was quite drastic. In the case of FedEx, it was, I believe, $30. And in the 2 cases from UPS, it was close to $9 each, if I'm not mistaken. So, needless to say, I was very shocked, for one, because in my 4 years of reselling, that's never happened. And I have not changed the way I do things unless maybe for the better. In general, I am not a careless reseller, so I always try my best to do the best I can for the platforms that are hosting me and for the customers that are trusting me. So I was shocked. And then I called customer service at eBay to find out what this is about. Surely it must be some sort of mistake. Well, in the case of FedEx, there was a bigger box that was not eBay purchased. So I'm not going to talk about that so much in this video, but it still serves the same points that I will be addressing here. eBay said that they were going to reach out to FedEx, but that is their policy, and they're going to do their best to counter their claim, but nothing happened. And then the UPS cases hit twice in 1 month within probably the past 30 days or so. And of course, I called eBay again. And in this particular case, which is why I want to make these the center of this video, is because it covers so much more than just the shipping company's behavior. The most infuriating detail that I had raised with the customer service at eBay was that in the UPS cases, I had used the eBay box that says 12 by 12 by 12. And I had taken a picture of that box with a label on it, because after the FedEx situation, I started taking pictures of the things that I would send through FedEx and UPS in certain cases. So eBay customer service said that they understand that, however, they will try again to raise this with UPS, and hopefully they will find in my favor, which did not happen. I did not get any refunds, and I don't even know honestly if eBay actually did anything. Then the second thing that I raised with eBay customer service was, how can they take these claims at face value without requesting some type of proof? And eBay's response was, well, FedEx and UPS tell us that that's their policies. So, needless to say, that really made me upset, because here's my perspective on it. Number one, how can it be ethical, and how can it be even legal for a shipping company to do something like this? In other words, to overcharge the customer after the fact based on a claim that they make that they refuse to prove with factual evidence. How can that happen? Number two, eBay. How can a company with the leverage that eBay has in the shipping world take these claims at face value and not require that they be substantiated somehow, and back their sellers in such cases? And if eBay is not ready to do this type of support, then eBay should require their box suppliers, because all of these boxes I got through the eBay shipping supplies, and they are the eBay branded boxes. So eBay should require their boxes suppliers to provide accurate sized boxes, because otherwise, eBay, you would be selling, and you have been selling, an item that is not as described. And I do not make this claim lightly. We're going to do some measurements in a little bit, but you cannot have both situations happen at the same time, meaning accept UPS's claim that the box was not what it said it was, and at the same time state through your inaction that your boxes are fine, because they cannot coexist. So it's either one or the other. It's either UPS is right and your boxes are not what they state they are. In parentheses, these claims may be petty, and I completely agree. However, if those boxes are over 12 inches in dimension, then I suppose UPS or FedEx or whomever, they could have a legitimate claim, right? So if UPS is not right, then your boxes should be accurate. But I did measure the boxes at the end of the day, because I was just trying to sort out what is happening here. I mean, it's been like this forever. Nothing happened, and now all of a sudden, boom, 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 3 times in a row. So this is what I think happened, honestly. I think that aside from all of the turmoil in the shipping world, with all of the changes in the way costs are being calculated, in the the increases in costs, the financial instability, or challenges rather, I should say. Aside from all of that, I think there is also the turmoil in the way these companies are running themselves and in the workforce within these companies. And you may have heard recently of quite a few layoffs in this space, all in the past probably less than 4 months, right? So I think it is my opinion only, that there could be employees at these shipping companies who feel that perhaps their jobs may be threatened, and they're trying to show their value to the company by exploiting these bureaucratic loopholes and showing the company, look, I'm making you money. Because I just cannot explain this sudden surge that I've experienced. And if you have experienced this as well, please, by all means, share it in the comments. So going back to all this, none of this is cool. So UPS, FedEx, you need to change those policies. I'm trying to scratch my head and think, how can they even be legal behavior, again, to automatically take out money out of a customer account based on a claim that you're not willing to then substantiate. So this has to change. Somehow it has to change. If you want to go after the 1/8 of an inch difference in the measurements, whatever, but you have to prove that. You have to have photographs that you can send to your customers or to whomever to substantiate your claims, okay? Number 2, eBay. You need to stand behind your product. If you stand behind your product, then you should have no problem standing behind your resellers, right? But apparently you're not doing either. And this needs to change. So you either get these boxes to be exactly what they say they are, or else go after these shipping companies and require that they substantiate their claims. But do not put us in the middle. This is so unfair. It's causing me so much work trying to protect myself from this craziness. And to give you some examples, the biggest impact is in price, is when a box or a package goes above or beyond the 36-inch combined. What is that? That is the length of the box plus the width of the box plus the height of the box have to add up to 36 inches or less. There are variations in price up to that total, but they are not by a long shot as material as they are when you go over 36 inches. So the boxes that I personally use the most that are threading that fine line are the eBay boxes that are 12 by 12 by 12 and the eBay boxes that are 16 by 12 by 8. So I have noticed very clearly since the last batch of cost increases in shipping from USPS, but not only, but especially from USPS, that when you go over that 36 combined dimension, every inch, all other things being equal, that is being added to those dimensions can cause a substantial hike in shipping costs. And the same thing, from that point on, if you take the inches off, you get a substantial decrease in prices. So that is something that apparently is being exploited now quite a bit, aside from everything else that I complain about. So this is the scenario that I'm talking about. And again, when it comes to the inconvenience, and sometimes beyond an inconvenience to a reseller like me, this is what I can explain. Number one, now that I know that this is happening, I have two options. One, either to, if I use those boxes, right, state that a 12 by 12 by 12 is at least a 12 by 13 by 12, if not a 13 by 13 by 12, and pay up for it, which is not what I purchased eBay. I purchased a box that said 12 by 12 by 12. Or the other option is to cut down the box. So if one side, let's say the length is a little bit over 12 inches, 12 and an eighth, or 12 and 2/8, then that's going to be considered 13 inches. The width, let's say that it's 12 inches, then I need to cut that box down to 11 inches so that I will still be within that 36 inches combined. So now I may not be able to fit in that box what I plan to fit in that box. And also eBay, again, that is not the box that I purchased. I purchased the box that said 12 by 12 by 12. And the most extreme example is if both sides, length and width, are a little bit over 12 inches. Or in the case of the other box, the 16 inch and 12 inch, if those sides are a little bit over what they state they are, then I have to bring the height of either of those boxes down by 2 inches in order to fit in that 36 inch combined. And again, for one, I may not be able to fit the items that I bought those boxes to accommodate. And yet again, eBay, that is not the box that I paid for. So before I keep ranting and raving, let's do a little bit of a test. All right, so here we have an eBay box that states on it that it's 12 by 12 by 12. Now, let's fold this box. So here's the box. I just taped it summarily. Let's look at this dimension. And as you can see, it is well over 12 inches. Well, apparently it is well over 12 inches. Then let's turn it around. And let's measure this. And this is a little bit over, but it could be, I would call this 12 inches, but I don't know if someone who's looking for trouble, what they would call this. I think this is a pretty good size. And then the height, which is way over 12 inches, as you can see. So now, if I don't do anything to this box, somebody could say that this box is 13 by 13 by 12, right? I mean, I know it's crazy, but this is what I've been dealing with. And okay, so I can bring the height down to 12 inches, but that's only if I'm aware that I need to do that, because think about it, all these years I never had to question, I didn't question that. I didn't think that I'd have to measure everything down to the 16th of an inch or even 1/8 of an inch. So now that I know, I can cut that box a little bit, well, quite a bit actually, because almost 1/2 inch over, and bring it down to 12 inches. But then again, that is not what the box said. The box said the way it is, it's 12 by 12 by 12. However, even if I were to do that, the one side I cannot modify. It's clearly over 12 inches. It's, you know, if someone wants to make a case, they can. And so I have to bring this box down by 1 inch. So we're back to the, the situation that I was venting about earlier. So this is the 12 by 12 by 12 box. Now let's look at the 16 by 12 by 8. So let's look at this box. This is the length of the box. And that's supposed to be 16 inches, right? That's what it says on the box. Now let's look at this. Sorry for all the pops. Clearly, it is almost 16 1/4, right? Okay. Now let's look at the width of the box. And this is again over 12 inches by 1/8 of an inch, but it's over 12 inches. Again, if somebody wants to cause trouble, they can. And then finally, let's look at the height of the box. And sorry for the pop again. So here's the height, and it's clearly over 8 inches. I mean, there's no doubt, right? So again, I can bring this down to 8 inches if I know that I should, because again, I did not doubt these measurements before, or rather I should say, I never thought that there could be anything like this caused by these boxes. So now I have that box that is longer than 16 inches for sure, that is longer than 12 inches, and is higher than 8 inches. So in order to mitigate the two sides that I cannot modify, the 16 and the 12, I have to bring this down by 2 inches. So it would be, in essence, a 16 by 12 for me, from a practical usage perspective. It would be a 16 by 12 by 6, unless I want to declare it as a 17 by 13 by 8 and pay up for it. And honestly, guys, I don't know. I don't even know what to do about it. So let me know if this has happened to you. Again, mention it in the comments. And if you have any idea as to how to deal with this, because again, with eBay, so QED, or Quod erat demonstrandum, I did prove that the boxes can be challenged. The boxes measurements can be challenged. I'm not saying that it's reasonable. I'm not saying that it's not petty, but it can happen. So again, if someone were to challenge those based on black and white descriptions, then these boxes are not as described eBay. And I understand again that you are not doing this on purpose, and then you're not knowingly even attempting to take advantage of the situation. I'm not saying that, but by now I have raised the situation 3 times to you, and I had asked and requested that your managers be informed of this scenario and of these cases, and especially to be informed about the fact that these boxes can be challenged as far as their measurements go. And I have not heard anything yet. I'm not saying that something may not happen, but all I can say is that I don't think that I am the only one. So I don't think that you only heard of these cases from me. So eBay, it's time you do something about this, because again, it's caused so much disruption in my business that I can't even describe. Because again, once you know, now you're in front of a real dilemma. What do you do? Do you take a chance? And one other thing too, which is making this so much more maddening, is how can you protect yourself against something like this with the shipping companies if, say, your platform is not backing you up? Because where is the end to this? Like, if they're not required to provide any proof, where is the end to this? They can say this more and more. They can make these claims more and more frequently. And how can you protect yourself against them? You can't. You really can't. So something has to happen. So if any of you have any leverage with eBay, because I clearly don't, please raise this. This has to be dealt with somehow. And if there's anybody who has any leverage with UPS or FedEx, USPS has been really reasonable, and again, the one sane actor in all this to date. Let's keep it that way, please. Please raise this with UPS and FedEx as well, because something has to change there, and it just cannot stay this way. It's just not right. So I think I reached the end of my venting at this point. Once again, please let me know. Share this video and comment if your experience has been the same or different in this case. And hopefully this video will make a difference for the better. That is the reason why I created it. And I really hope that we'll see some type of improvement in the near future. Until then, please like, share, comment, subscribe. It will help me a lot, especially as a new reseller on YouTube. And I wish you the best, and especially have a marvelous sunshiny day.